Claims of police misconduct expected to dominate the first day of the Demetrius Montgomery trial. WBT's Chris Miller is a preview now live from the news center.
And this first day will have a familiar ring to it. The defense is making a third attempt at having Montgomery declared mentally incompetent to stand trial for the 2007 murders of Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers Sean Clark and Jeff Shelton. They also want a judge to block prosecutors from seeking the death penalty. The basis for that, alleged police misconduct. And a motion filed last week, the defense claimed a CMPD investigator got rid of notes that could benefit Montgomery's defense. The lead prosecutor, Marcia Goodnow, ended day one on the witness stand, fielding questions from the defense about inconsistencies in what Detective Arvin Fant told Goodnow about notes he compiled during the murder investigation. Goodnow said Fant first denied plagiarizing from another investigator and then less than a day later admitted to doing so. Detective Fant was also on the stand today, admitting he destroyed his original notes in the case because they were sloppy. And he said he also destroyed notes in other cases, and Fant said he always copied the information. Fant is at this. The defense said Monday it wanted to hear from Arvin Fant's superiors at CMPD, who have stripped Fant of his detective badge and removed him from the homicide unit after he admitted to getting rid of notes from his investigation into the murders of officers Sean Clark and Jeff Shelton. On the stand Monday, Fant also said he cut and pasted another officer's notes onto his, and Fant admitted he initially denied copying those notes. But prosecutors said as inexcusable as that was, the notes only summarized interviews that were taped. Bottom line, they say no evidence is technically missing.
It's breaking news. The judge has removed the death penalty from consideration in the Mecklenburg County murder trial of Demetrius Montgomery.
When he threw out his original notes, Detective Arvin Fant also threw out the prosecution's ability to seek the death penalty. Judge Forrest Bridges ruled this afternoon that Fant's misconduct put a cloud over the case. The prosecution can continue to pursue a first-degree murder charge.
Criminal charges could be in store for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer who cost prosecutors the Demetrius Montgomery case a shot at a death penalty. Here's WBT's Chris Miller.
Police Chief Rodney Monroe walked out of the courthouse Tuesday shaking his head.
If there's any case that would warrant a death penalty, it is this case.
Not only was he disappointed in the ruling taking the death penalty off the table,
I am also very disappointed in the actions of one of our members in this particular case that has led us down this unfortunate road.
Judge Forrest Bridges said Tuesday one of Monroe's officers, Arvin Fant, put a cloud over the case by destroying some of his original investigation notes.
Officer Fant currently is in administrative leave capacity. Our Internal Affairs Division has already started its investigation of his particular actions in this case.
Prosecutors can appeal Bridges' ruling, and they left court Tuesday without saying if they would.
Your top local story, there will be no appeal of a judge's decision removing the death penalty from consideration in the Demetrius Montgomery trial. Prosecutors saying the families of murdered CMPD officers Sean Clark and Jeff Shelton requested they not appeal. Another twist in the bizarre, winding road that is the Demetrius Montgomery trial. WBT's Chris Miller reports jury selections come to a halt.
Judge Forrest Bridges walked into court a half hour after we were supposed to start and said that certain matters came to his attention during a meeting this morning with the defense and prosecution behind closed doors. It was not an open court. We don't know what was said.
No indication what those certain matters are.
WBT's Chris Miller reports.
Week 2 begins with more questions about Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer Arvin Fant. The reason Friday's session was brought to a screeching halt was because documents surfaced, apparently contradicting Fant's testimony. He copied his original investigation notes verbatim before destroying them. Exactly what was in these documents, no one would say. The defense said it might be perjury. The prosecution said it wasn't that severe. But both sides agreed it was no reason to delay jury selection.
WBT's Chris Miller has more.
More than a dozen cases in which Officer Arvin Fant was the lead detective are now being reviewed by an independent team of auditors headed up by retired Superior Court Judge Shirley Fulton. The review team began its work Monday, a few blocks from the courthouse, where Fant continued to raise concerns in the Montgomery case, even though it's been days since he was last at the courthouse. Prosecutors said some of Fant's notes they thought were missing had been found, and the documents had surfaced questioning Fant's statement he copied his notes verbatim before destroying them. Judge Forrest Bridges repeated Monday that potential jurors were to be kept out of the loop about Fant's issues until he thinks it's appropriate. Chris Miller, WBT News.